Hello, Fabulous Taurus. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of July 2016, General Focus. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This month, we have got a new moon happening right out of the gate, and then mid-month, a full moon. And this particular axis, if you will, is taking place in the part of the sky with the new moon falling in a part of the sky that has to do with the information that you are taking in, the communications that you're having, and the learning that's happening, the processes of learning. And then the full moon has to do with the sense that you make of it. So there are a lot of layers to this particular lunar phenomenon, but regardless, it is going to be a month that changes our direction and changes the direction for a whole lot of us. And that is because both of these moons are powerfully speaking to other power players in the sky. So let's start with the new moon, because this new moon is standing across the sky from Pluto and speaking in harmony with Jupiter, which suggests that we see the way to our blessings, we have the motivation to do the work, but very likely it's going to show up, and that motivation is going to show up by showing us the reality of at least one situation in our life where it is that change must happen. And this can be powerful, this can be beautiful, this can be clarifying, and this can be liberating. But the main thing with this energy is that as that truth comes, and as we accept that truth, we are empowered. We see the way to make things go in a more positive direction. And that's the point sometimes, right? Sometimes the point with the sky is things are easy breezy and good things are coming about and luck is with you, and that's great. But sometimes the universe actually wants us to cultivate that luck for ourselves and to become the person who's going to attract those blessings. Like, that is not always about the end result, but it is about the process that you undertake. This particular new moon is very much about the process, the truth, and what you do with it, the information that comes, and how you let it change you for the better, how you let it motivate you to improve your life in many different ways. So we have got this beautiful new moon happening, consequential new moon happening. And this is going to speak in particular to relationships with siblings, cousins, and neighbors. So you want to be a little bit mindful there. There might be a lot of heightened sensitivities around these people early in the month. So when in doubt, be easy, be soft, be gentle, be sensitive, because there can be heightened sensitivities, people feeling vulnerable, people feeling like buttons are being pushed. So in order to, make things go as smoothly as possible, it's really good to keep in mind how other people may be feeling. And what's also really powerful about this particular energy is that one of these relationships might actually be going through a change, going through an evolution. Now, how do you want to do with that? How do you want to embrace that? How do you want to work with that to your advantage? Well, the cornerstone, of course, is honesty, right? Always. But there's a way to be honest that takes this other person's feelings very much into account. Because as I look at this, it does look like you may not realize it. You might say something and the person just reacts. They think that you are being critical in a way that affects them on very deep levels. That might not have been your intention. So you just want to be a little bit mindful there. But regardless, it does look like this is a shift in your understanding of those, or at least one key alliance, one key connection that you have with another person. So it ends up changing you profoundly, actually, and empowering you as well. And a lot of what ends up empowering you is what you do with it. So, like I said, it's the information that comes, it's the information you're communicating, and then there's the sense you make of it and how you allow it to empower you. Now, this part of the sky also has to do with things like workshops or book signings you might attend, little weekend workshops or skill building classes that you might be involved in. And also like just randomly walking around your neighborhood, right, as well, can be a part of this. So keep that in mind, particularly in those environments where some important communication can take place that has you soul searching very deeply as to why you react the way you do, why you manifested certain types of interactions, and ultimately what it is that you believe about yourself in the world, and what that says about your level of being content and being at peace within yourself. This can also be if you are in the media or you get invited to do any media. My advice would be if you can put off that interview just a little bit, right? I would advise that, at least not in the first week. I would avoid the first week to doing any kind of thing like that. If somebody contacts you and wants to interview you, or you're thinking about wanting to interview someone as well and have that exchange, my advice would be try and give yourself a little bit of space early in the first week, because it looks like that exchange might end up being a little bit challenging. And if you are in the media, if in some way, whether it's just a blog, right? Maybe you just write a blog like a lot of us do now. Then you do want to be mindful of what's the intention? What kind of response are you hoping to evoke from other people? And this might also be a time, I got to tell you, this Saturn-Neptune square that has been taking place for us, not so active this month, thankfully, but was in the month of June. And one thing that I've seen a whole lot of people say, it's very interesting, that when the Saturn-Neptune thing comes up, it tends to be a time where you kind of like see where people are, and there's a lot of like deleting happening, lots of blocking people that takes place. It's a bit of a cleansing, right, to decide what you believe and what your place is in the world. And it's not always a bad thing to sort of realize, like, okay, who is it that is sort of working with a vibration of where you are. And so I'm seeing a lot of people do this, and what I was also seeing a lot of in June was people saying, I gotta take a social media break. I gotta take a social media break. So I would say to you, if you feel that in the first week of this month, honor that feeling, because that may come up. And so if you feel like you need to create some space, whether it's, realizing who you want to continue interacting with, who you don't, you control your online world. For the most part, you control your online world, and you control how much you want to interact with it in particular. And so if you feel like not good energy is happening, you can make changes, whether you remove yourself for a little while, whether you remove other people. But some of that, for some of you out there, might be going on in the first week as well. I'm all about practicing self-care and doing what you need to do. So whatever that is for you, make sure you're approaching it from that place, and also be mindful that how you are communicating might be interpreted in different ways. Look at the intention behind what you're saying, okay? Because that ultimately will go a whole long way in terms of helping you to ensure that you're communicating what it is that you really feel from the best place in yourself. Communicating in a way that allows you to feel good about yourself. That is key. As we move towards the middle of the month, we are going to have that full moon take place in a part of the sky. It has to do with a few different areas of life, okay? So let me break it down. It has to do with, like I said, the belief, the values that guide your life, your worldview that you hold. It also has to do with institutes of higher learning, legal, political, long distance travel, immigration, citizenship. So all those issues become highlighted under this particular sky. Now, this new moon is speaking with Uranus, and it does suggest changes or just very quick happenings, quick requests, and information coming up very quickly and kind of, in some cases, out of nowhere. So what I would say is, if you are involved in any of these institutions, right, my advice would be around the full moon, so it's just around the middle of the month, just plan for things to, maybe take you a little bit by surprise. So just be mindful of that. There can be some curveballs thrown. Just, walk it, don't worry about it. It looks like ultimately it does empower you, but just the surprise of it does take you by surprise. Now again, this is only as we move towards the middle of the month. Depending on where you are on the planet, it's taking place right around the 17th or so, okay? So give yourself like a few days surrounding that date. So I would say between the 13 and the 20, like those are the days that you kind of want to watch and give yourself a little bit of space. And even maybe not as early as the 13th, maybe even a little bit later. But even with all that, I share this with you only so that you can anticipate that things might take you a little bit by surprise. So if you are going to travel, just give yourself a whole lot of time and dress comfortable. I gotta say, with a sky like this, make sure you're feeling good and comfortable in your own skin. With a sky like this, I would also say that, you know, if any requests do come up, which is possible, right? So if you're involved in a citizenship or immigration matter, this can be a time when some kind of communication or letter arrives or some action needs to be taken. To the best of your ability, if you can, I would advise to do it sort of in the later part or just after this time frame that I've given you, if you have that option. If you're involved in any kind of legal matters or matters of politics, this can be a time when lots of things are very changeable for you. So keep that in mind, keep your heart open, keep your heart optimistic always, and yet just know that there's a determination now to change your circumstances for the better. And one of these types of institutions I've mentioned might be part of that journey for you, might be part of that process, and maybe a surprise will come up. And whatever comes up, not only will you deal with it, but you will be empowered by it. It's like you show yourself that you can handle it. That's thanks to Mars hanging out in harmony right around this time as well. So what this does suggest to me is that you not only show yourself that you can handle it, but you're able to be present, you're able to think quickly, you're able to be empowered as a result, and whatever arises, you feel stronger because of it. And that is the key, is to focus in on that, on feeling strong, on feeling certain, knowing who you are, and being in your truth has a powerful way of just easing the walk through life, profoundly so. And that really is key to navigating the middle of the month, is to stay connected to what you know is true about you and who you know yourself to be, and live and move forward from that place. If you can do that, you will find yourself coming to see some things within yourself that not only do you feel that you actually like, but allow you to redefine yourself in terms that fill you with a sense of self-empowerment and self-respect. Head over to my website right now to get early access to the Jupiter Special Horoscopes. In the month of September, Jupiter will change signs. We'll move into the sign of Libra. This is so exciting, as all of us in some way are going to notice our blessings shift and feel ourselves getting more hopeful and getting more opportunity in a very practical kind of way in a new area of life. So based on your sun sign, based on your moon sign, your rising sign, Jupiter will bless your life in new ways. So to find out how and to get an early look into how, head on to my website, nadiyashah.com. And of course, those horoscopes will be available on YouTube to the public on YouTube in the month of September. But if you want an early look, visit my website. And I look forward to seeing you there. It'll be great. This move of Jupiter into Libra will be great. Enjoy.